A few weeks ago, it was my future father-in-law's 60th birthday, and I wanted to make him something special. And after watching a Jimmy DiResta video with bullet bourbon in it and acquiring a taste for whiskey, I had to give it a try. I started by planing one side of a piece of oak down, then I resawed it in half, and then took those two pieces to a buddy's house where he further planed them down to a 1/4 inch thickness. They would later be used as the dividers in the box. Then I picked up a piece of 3/4 oak and squared one end of it. I needed to get the 4 pieces out of this one piece of oak, the top, the bottom, and the 2 sides. I started by cutting it roughly to size and then snuck up on the final dimensions later on. The top, the bottom, and the 2 sides were all 14 inches in length, and once I had those cut to final length, I could rip them down 4 inches wide. And while the fence was set to 4 inches, I went ahead and ripped the dividers down as well. Next, I measured and laid out lines in the top and the bottom pieces for the dados. Now these dados are where the divider pieces will be inserted into. The bottle of bullet will go in the middle with 2 glasses on either side. I transferred the dado lines to the edge of each piece so it would be easier to line up the cut. I raised the blade so it wasn't quite cutting through half the board, and then proceeded to make the dado cuts. I took a few passes until the dividing pieces fit snugly in each dado. Then I could clean them up with a chisel. And unfortunately, the battery on my camera died when I went to cut the miters. And now the tough part, gluing and clamping up mitered corners. I won't lie though, I did shoot a couple brad nails into each corner as the glue was setting up. Then I removed the clamps and I took a measurement of the length of each divider, which happened to be 13 inches. With the dividing pieces cut to length, I could glue them into the dados. Then I took the measurement of the width of the shelf that the 2 upper glasses would sit on. Then I took the mitered offcuts from the sides and glued those on the bottom of these little shelves. This will give me a greater gluing surface area when I glued these smaller shelves in later. And while those small shelves were drying, I marked and cut the back panel for the box. With the back panel on, I could mark the center of the dividing pieces and then glue the small shelves in. Then I got another piece of oak and started cutting the pieces for the door to length before ripping each one to width. I could cut one miter on all 4 pieces to start with. Then I could lay out each piece on top of the box and mark the location for the second miter. With the miters on the door frame all cut, I needed to cut a groove in each piece to accept a piece of glass. Then I needed to mark and cut the piece of glass to fit inside that frame. And I'll leave a link down below to this tool, but it's a glass scoring tool, and basically you score the glass just as the name says, and then along that line you snap the glass. I gotta be honest, it didn't work with the first piece of glass. It didn't break along that scored line, so just be patient, it will work. Now with the piece of glass cut to size, I could glue the door frame together. And after a final sanding, it was ready for finish. I used boiled linseed oil on this, and I think it turned out great. And finally for the hinges, I could mark out the location, chisel out the area for the hinges to sit flush within, and then screw them in. And for one last step, I added a magnet to the box and the door of the box to act as a latch. If you guys enjoyed this video, it would be awesome if you could hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you aren't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you're notified every time I put out new content. If you want to see what I'm currently working on, follow me on Instagram. I'll leave that link as well as all my other social media links down below. And as always, thanks for watching.